In the stillness of a winter's night, nestled in a humble cave in Greccio, Italy, a moment of divine wonder unfolded nearly 800 years ago. A man of great humility sought to rekindle the hearts of the faithful by bringing to life the story of the Saviour's birth. With nothing but straw, an ox, a donkey, and a manger, he painted the most beautiful picture of heaven touching earth. A scene so simple, yet so profound. This was not just a tradition, it was an invitation, a call to see the Christ child through eyes of love and wonder. But who was this man who began a tradition cherished across the world? And how did his vision become the world's first nativity scene? Join me as we journey back in time to uncover the story of the world's first nativity scene. St. Francis of Assisi was credited with creating the world's first nativity scene, one of the world's most beloved saints. St. Francis of Assisi was born in the year 1181 or 1182 in Assisi, Italy. He is one of the most revered figures in Christianity and the founder of the Franciscan order. Well known for how the young and wealthy Francis of Assisi freely abandoned his noble patrimony to serve Christ's church as a poor, itinerant preacher. Also widely known for his profound love for nature and all living beings, he embodied the spirit of humility, simplicity, and compassion. He noticed that many were losing sight of the humility and simplicity of the Incarnation, focusing more on worldly celebrations than on the profound mystery of God becoming man. St. Francis of Assisi, deeply moved by his meditations on the life of Christ, created the first ever nativity scene in Greccio, Italy in the year 1223. His inspiration stemmed from his journey to the Holy Land in the year 1219 and 1220, where the sacred sites of Christ's birth, life, death, and resurrection became profoundly real to him. He longed to recreate that spiritual experience for others. In the year 1223, November, 3 years before his death, St. Francis traveled to Rome, awaiting the Pope's approval of the final rule for his friars. Well acquainted with the hill town of Greccio, located about 50 miles north of Rome, he had first visited over a decade earlier and often returned to share his message with the local people. As he prepared for his return to the Hermitage, just 2 weeks before Christmas, Francis asked his friend Giovanni Ballita, the Lord of Greccio, to prepare a cave filled with live animals and a manger of fresh hay. Having received permission from the Pope to stage this holy scene, Francis desired to represent the birth of that child in Bethlehem in such a way that with our bodily eyes we may see what he suffered for lack of the necessities of a newborn baby, and how he lay in a manger between the ox and ass. Thus, in the year 1223 December, amidst the rocky crags just outside Greccio, people flocked to witness this simple yet profound tableau during the Christmas Mass. St. Francis proclaimed the Gospel and delivered a deeply moving sermon about the birth of Christ. According to accounts, he was so overwhelmed with emotion that he wept while speaking. The dark night was illuminated by flickering fires as crowd arrived with candles and torches, creating a warm and reverent atmosphere. An eyewitness account tells of a miraculous event that unfolded during the Mass. Giovanni Ballita claimed to have seen a real infant appear in the empty manger, and St. Francis cradled the child in his arms, holding him close to his heart. In the days that followed, more miracles were reported. Those who touched the straw from the manger experienced miraculous healings. Sick animals and women in labor found relief after pieces of hay were placed upon them. He wanted to help people experience the true essence of Christ's birth, with clarity and reverence. Through the nativity scene, Francis aimed to visualize the gospel. He wanted people to see, not just hear, the story of Christ's birth, making it more relatable and impactful. He wanted to highlight Christ's humility. By recreating Jesus' birth in a manger, surrounded by animals, Francis emphasized God's choice to come into the world in poverty and simplicity. He wanted to inspire devotion. The living nativity was meant to move hearts, drawing people closer to the love and humility of Jesus. He wanted to renew faith. In a time when faith was becoming more ritualistic, Francis sought to rekindle a personal connection to the humanity of Christ. Pope Francis signed his apostolic letter at the sacred site where St. Francis created the first nativity scene just outside Greccio, Italy, on December 1 in the year 2019. The location, a Franciscan hermitage and sanctuary, still bears witness to that historic moment. Atop a rock, an altar now stands for celebrating Mass, beautifully adorned with frescoes that depict the birth of Jesus. Pope Francis has visited this holy site twice, first in year 2016 and again on that significant day in 2019, when he emphasized the meaning and importance of nativity scenes. All those present at St. Francis' Christmas Mass, he wrote in his apostolic letter, experienced a new and indescribable joy in the presence of the Christmas scene. The priest solemnly celebrated the Eucharist over the manger, illustrating the deep connection between the incarnation of the Son of God and the Eucharist. At Greccio, there were no mere statues. The nativity scene was enacted and experienced by all who gathered, bringing the humble birth of Christ to life in their hearts and souls. Each year, this legacy continues as the people of Greccio stage a live historical reenactment of St. Francis and the first nativity scene, inviting all to feel the profound humility and love that marked the nativity. In this way, the spirit of St. Francis endures, reminding us that the nativity is not just a story to be told, but a living expression of faith, inviting us to embrace the simplicity and joy of Christ's birth. In a particular way, from the time of its Franciscan origins, the nativity scene has invited us to feel and touch the poverty that God's Son embraced in the incarnation. Implicitly, it summons us to follow him along the path of humility, poverty, and self-denial that leads from the manger of Bethlehem to the cross, wrote Pope Francis. Each year at Christmas, the people of Greccio honor this legacy by staging a live historical reenactment of St. Francis and the very first nativity scene, bringing to life the profound humility and love that marked the birth of Christ. This beautiful tradition continues to inspire hearts and reminds us of the deeper meaning of the season.